and how that would integrate into your contact centers, and how you would use it to gain that actionable intelligence. So let's start at some real basic level right here, right? What is speech analytics, right? Speech analytics is a method of leveraging technology to turn your audio recordings, the recordings of agent speech, into actionable business intelligence. And there's a number of ways that Noble Systems helps you do that. So real quickly, let's cover over the differences with a couple of different methods of doing quality assurance or speech analytics, things like that, and kind of talk about the ways those things are different. Quality assurance, in a traditional sense, most of you guys are using, most of our customers do make use of either Maestro recording playback or the Harmony version 4 recording playback and quality assurance module that we did on a webinar not long ago. The quality assurance application essentially allows you to find and listen to previously recorded conversations post-call, so after the call takes place. You're listening to each phone call, having a live person listen to it, and evaluate using scorecards in Harmony or the Maestro quality assurance, depending on which version you have. So that quality assurance, that manual QA, that actually takes a lot of time, takes a lot of resources. You have to have an individual person go listen to that phone call. And in our own observation from going to talk to our clients, prospective clients, just around the industry, we find that there's a huge number of contacts that go without any kind of QA. Right? There's a huge number. I think based on our casual observation of contact centers we go into, we see about 0.25% of the total call volume of either prospective clients or current clients are actually getting QA. It's a staggeringly low number. At 25 out of every 10,000 conversations actually get monitored in our anecdotal kind of observation. So they're not being monitored for all kinds of things. The FDCPA compliance, safe harbor, various other compliance things. Really, anything you can think of that you need to have your agents say. Missed opportunities to close, missed opportunities for payment collections in collections environments. I know there's a lot of our clients that have gone to using speech analytics have found huge uplift just from ensuring that their agents are asking for payments, right? That's, again, that ties back into adherence to policies, to processes, and it gives you insight into those kind of things. Monitoring these calls can give you insight into actions you can take to improve that performance. So Noble Speech Analytics, our speech analytics offering, is really a two-part thing, right? There's speech analytics we're going to talk about in real time and speech analytics post-call. So Noble's real-time speech analytics actually monitor and evaluate 100% of customer conversations. They're able to, if you choose to have it all recorded and monitored. They can monitor and evaluate 100% of customer conversations. So it can automatically analyze structures of conversations with key phrases, key words that you want to look for, identifying patterns in behavior. So it can identify patterns and track those patterns as they happen. It can be a teaching tool for skills that you may want to use speech analytics to track individual agents, their training and their progression through your training or their skills related to any one of your topics for training. We can make decisions based on those predictions. Again, that's all about productivity. That's about compliance. That's making decisions for future training programs, or in real-time speech analytics case, making real-time decisions, and really give you some insight into those calls that you otherwise wouldn't gain if you were just manually monitoring those calls, because there's really no way to get to all of them without having a really, really massive quality assurance staff. So Noble Interaction Analytics. Interaction Analytics is our product for post-call analysis. So Interaction Analytics, again, it gains actionable insight on 100% of recorded conversations after the fact. So Interaction Analytics is our post-call analysis product that can give you insight into and reports and statistics into what's happening after the phone calls have taken place. So you can see in our screenshot here, we are actually tracking the trends for things like compliance, performance management. There's third-party risk, portfolio risk, payment requests. Right? We can actually see we can track those numbers, and we can see what trends we have going on in our contact center based on the phrases we've programmed in to be able to track. And again, the 4 core areas there: performance management, customer experience, process optimization, and compliance. That Interaction Analytics product, the post-call analysis product, is available on Noble Systems products, whether they're on Atomics or the Postgres back-end software. Right? So that's a look at some of our offerings for post-call and manual quality assurance. So now we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to jump right in and talk about what is real-time speech analytics. So real-time speech analytics is really kind of self-explanatory. We're applying the methods of speech analysis to a call as it's happening in real time. Right? We're actually applying it to what's going on the phone call in real time for the agent and for supervisors. So Noble's real-time speech analytics product allows you to analyze your phrases, sentiment, to make real-time decisions on the phone calls. You have newer versions of Noble. It's a feature we've had for a little while, allow you to do stereo call recording, where you're recording the agent and the customer or the called party on 2 separate channels. Well, we can analyze those channels separately too and provide real-time statistics, real-time analysis and insight on those channels individually. So, you could have a phrase that you don't want your agent to say, but you don't want to pop an alert if the customer says it, that kind of thing. We can actually, because we have a separate channel for customers and a separate channel for agents, we can use the agent audio. We can analyze that agent audio, even in dual-party consent state when consent is refused from the called party. So if I don't want to be recorded and I'm in a dual consent state and you're not recording the customer at all, I can still record through my separate analysis. I can still record my agent. So what this really allows you to do at the basic level, once you have analysis ongoing of calls as they're in progress, is we can use that analysis to send dynamic content and control to an agent's workflow, right? And that's something we're about to cover in a moment in a little more detail of the things we can do to cover and control that agent workflow. But the secondary thing is you're able to configure alerts and indicators to management, reporting to management, and all of this kind of ties together to improve your customer's experience, right? When they're getting actionable intelligence and information presented directly to your agent in real time based on the conversation, then you're able to increase your sales with maybe other product offerings for upsales. Maybe promise to pay rates could increase just based off of your ability to send real-time information, real-time agent workflow based off of prompts that they hear whenever they're being spoken to. So one other note is that real-time speech analytics, or RTSA, is available on our Noble Symphony solutions with a Postgres database. So that's where that's available. So when you're creating these phrases, when you're setting up real-time speech analytics, we have a whole interface to actually modify and change what we call phrases, right? So each phrase is something you create, and a phrase can be a number of different things, right? These are the things that we're looking for that we're going to detect during the call. They're created based on business rules you define, right? So a phrase, here we've got a phrase on the left side where we're looking for the words, call will be recorded all together. So, well, this has got a not any of. So in this case, it says not any of. We're looking for calls where no one says call will be recorded within the first 15 seconds. So if you don't say this call will be recorded within the first 15 seconds, we'll pop our RTSA trigger and that we can send the agent a notification to ask or to notify the customer the call will be recorded, and we can send an alert to their manager to notify them that they aren't asking for that, or they aren't notifying and disclaiming that that call will be recorded. The one on the right side, you can see we've got several different ways to ask for speaking or talking to a supervisor, and if any of that happens anywhere within the call, then we're going to trigger that alert, and that alert, which we define later. So again, you have the capability to create a number of or as many phrases or expressions that you want, and set a confidence level to tune how sure the system is that was the phrase that was said. And then once you create those phrases get associated with what we call topics, and those topics are assigned in campaigns inside of your Harmony call center management application in the real-time speech analytics tool set there. So you're actually able to take a topic, say the Mini Miranda is a topic, and send alerts to either Harmony or Composer, or both Harmony and Composer, set a score for compliance or positivity, which we'll get into when we talk a little bit about the reporting piece and the Harmony alerts piece, and essentially configure what happens at one layer, the Harmony layer, when that topic is received. So phrases, again, we mentioned scoring values for positivity, scoring values for compliance. So phrases are given scoring values against an index for positivity or compliance. The score there, it appears in Harmony, and it's tracked in your Noble Web Report. So you can see in our example here, I've clicked on the bubble on my agent inside the agent stations wallboard, this little number 6 inside of a bubble. I've clicked on that, and it's showing me my positivity score, my compliance score on my current call, and it's showing me the last few alerts that have been popped up based on the phrases that are being said on the phone call that's occurring. So again, these pieces, the compliance scores, the positivity scores, and all the alerts are being fed into our web reports as well. So you see I've got an example web report up here that's Agent RTSA alerts detected. So it's giving me a list of times that I've had the escalation and management alert pop for the Agent Noble SE. So I can go in and find, very specifically find for a specific agent or a specific campaign, a specific phone call, for a time range, whatever I need, I can go find what real-time speech analytics alerts popped and when they were alerted, essentially. So the real power in this is not only alerting and reporting to management what happens with positivity scoring, things like that, but also the capability to pull real-time speech analytics alerts into Composer. So these toolbars you're seeing here are from our Composer Designer application, and our Composer Designer application allows you to script or build, essentially build code to be executed around events, right? An event could be a button press, a screen change, a call connected. Any of those type of events are valid events, but with real-time speech analytics, triggering of a real RTSA alert is a new event, right? So you can see I have a few of those events set up in my campaign, and then we can actually set the properties of the scripting of what we want to do, which we're going to talk more about here in a minute. What do we want to happen when that alert is triggered? So in this case, we are doing a show message, right? And the show message essentially is going to display some text to the agent when that event is triggered, right? So notify the customer the call will be recorded, or please use appropriate language with our customers. Those are all alerts that you could display to an agent in the event of an RTSA trigger. So again, the agent stations wallboard, like we covered when we looked at some of the positivity scoring, also gives you these real-time, as they're happening, notification view of alerts, right? You can set a major alert, or you can set an alert to be an alert that is a major alert where it shows up in red with the exclamation point, or it can be a non-major alert where it's just a checkpoint maybe, and we've got a little check mark there, and the verified contact on the right side shows up in green, just signifies to you that your agent is doing the things that you want them to do. Again, supervisors view the positivity and compliance scoring, just like we talked about earlier. It can be positive or negative. It's an index that you create for positivity and compliance, and all that information is reported on. So let's talk a little bit about RTSA and your infrastructure, a customer's infrastructure. So Noble System Speech Analytics server actually integrates with existing Symphony infrastructure in your environment. The reason it needs to be Symphony is because it's actually monitoring those calls. The RTSA server is monitoring those calls in real time with a stream with voice over IP. So it's listening with a SIP call, voice over IP, to what's happening in real time on the Symphony system. So it's a voice over IP real-time stream, and you have the capability to use existing tools like Harmony, Composer, Harmony Wallboard, etc., to configure alerting and actionable intelligence. And all this stuff can be configured independently per action triggered, per campaign, etc. So again, Composer uses an existing tool. Composer uses advanced scripting and utilizes alerts sent from the speech server to customize the agent's workflow. So again, RTSA, SIP-based voice over IP streaming. It works on the premise with a premise-based application. It works in the cloud. Again, it's all based on voice over IP, so it's flexible and it'll work in whatever environment you have, so long as you have a Symphony system with a Postgres database backend, with our modern database backend for Postgres. So let's step really quickly through an example call flow. I want to give you just a quick example to demonstrate a fictitious solution for RTSA. We're going to take a look at an example of how our real-time information can be pushed to agents and managers. This one is kind of simplistic with the things it does to the Composer side. We'll cover a little bit more in a second of how that can be augmented and changed. But for the purposes of this example, the left side of your screen is the agent screen, right, what they would be seeing, the Composer side. And the right side would be in real time what's happening on the Harmony supervisor side, right? So essentially, we have both screens, the agent and the supervisor, in one place, right? So during the live conversation, during the call, the conversation would cause the system to alert using our pre-configured checkpoints. So, for example, in this example, I would inform the customer that the call will be recorded for quality assurance purposes. And when I say that phrase, I'll get a check mark in my call flow checkpoints for recording disclaimer, as well as my recording positivity would be increased, and I'd be alerted to the positivity on the agent station's view inside Harmony, right? As I progress through the call and I inform the caller that it's an attempt to collect a debt, so I read the mini Miranda, it's an attempt to collect a debt, or that kind of thing. I'm going to get, in the mini Miranda checkbox, I'll get that information that I've passed that call flow checkpoint, as well as an agent station alert for my supervisor. If I go forward, are you still located at, I can verify that contact information. As I say phrases, they're filling into the verified contact view. You have a balance of, and I read off the balance, how would you like to pay this debt? As I say, how would you like to pay for this debt, the system's going to read that, or verify that I'm saying that information, give me another positive agent score because I'm using the phrases I'm supposed to use, and step me through my call flow checkpoints on the Composer side. Again, thanks for calling Noble Systems. Again, positivity. I'm stepping through the call flow checkpoints as I want to step through them. So that was a very simplistic example of how you might use checkpoints to step an agent through a guided call flow. There's also the capability, let's say the customer used the phrase bubblegum. This is our fictitious naughty word, bubblegum. I could have the system automatically alert me that there are forbidden words, or not the customer, but the agent used the forbidden word and subtract from the positivity score using my forbidden words check there, and I can pop an alert to the agent. Please use appropriate language with our customers. I popped an alert there, but there's so much more you could do with that. The ability you have really goes way beyond just popping, checking individual boxes or popping alerts to agents. You actually have the entire capabilities of the Composer Advanced Scripting action triggered off that RTSA alert. So like we were talking about earlier in the Composer Advanced Scripting, you have almost limitless capability for what you can do. You can set task lists to create logical branching and decisioning inside the scripting window. So if the customer, for instance, says that they have a bankruptcy, you could use data elements from the custom table to drive the decision about what alert to send the agent or what information to do or whether to transfer the call to another location, all based off of a voice prompt, right? So just a sampling of some of the Composer scripting elements that you'd be able to change would be you could change screens. So I could send you to a different screen with different scripting and different information. Again, we showed a pop-up message alert. We could navigate an external system, like maybe you have a web-based system that you're using and you need to navigate to a different page based on a voice prompt. We can insert data with SQL service or with ODBC for SQL or web-based web services to send data to a separate platform in the event of voice prompt. We could automatically send emails. You could have it listening for prompts about that, send email automatically. We could have an agent record a perfect script message, which is another noble feature where they record their own personalized message. We can have that play that perfect script message out to that agent as well. Call transfers, scheduling callbacks, all of these things are possible with real-time speech analytics because real-time speech analytics plugs directly into Composer, and that's the real power there, is that you have complete capability to dictate what happens based on that call, based on our real-time speech analytics alerts. So just to conclude the slideshow here, the Noble Speech Analytics solution, along with real-time monitoring and decision, allow your contact to respond immediately without intervention from management, etc., to events, emerging issues, opportunities as they're happening in real time. So I'm going to go back and look at some of the questions that have been submitted, and I'm going to answer a few questions really quick. I know that we've only spent about 25 minutes, so I'm going to just answer a few questions here, take a few more minutes of your time, and I'll let you guys move on. So one of the questions was, who uses this product and what are their best practices? Speech analytics from Noble can be used by any of our customers who have a contact center. So anybody who needs to know information about calls as they're happening in real time and wants immediate insight into what their agents are saying, where they don't have to utilize post-call analytics, which are powerful in their own right, or manual quality assurance that requires lots and lots of man hours to sift through all those recordings. Anybody that needs real-time actioning or real-time information, any of our customers are the people who use it. It really is something you could think of a business application for just about anybody. And their best practices, I would say that would be something that it'd be a good idea to engage your sales team, your sales account manager, and your sales engineer to come up with some best practices from existing customers in your vertical or your industry. Because it really, those best practices would be specific to different types of phone calls, right? Some would have best practices for popping alert messages for certain types of calls, but with as many different verticals as we work with, there's no just one set of best practices I can recommend. what should the voice recording infrastructure be in order to use RTSA? It actually doesn't apply to your voice recording infrastructure. Like I said, it's a voice over IP stream, so it only depends on the telephony infrastructure being one of our Noble Symphony platforms, which is our current most modern platform for telephony interface. How long are results stored? Results are stored in our reporting database tables, just like your other reporting information. Those reports are available as long as you store that data in a report archive server. If you have one on your premise, the report results are capable of being exported, so you can export that data to your own system to store as long as you'd like. You can store it as long as you have storage capability on your report archive server from us, or if you provide your own. And then if you're in the cloud or you don't have a report archive server, it's going to depend on your arrangement with us for how long you keep your reporting information. If you've set up a situation with your cloud solution where you keep reporting information for 2 months, that's how long you'll store the RTSA alerting information as well. It's all stored in the same place. So another question is RTSA content available via web services and an API so we can archive it on our server if we're on a hosted API client? The RTSA event trigger alert is a composer alert event. So essentially, because it's a composer scripting alerting event, we have the capability to send that alert to an API-based customer, because our composer toolset, our composer application, is built on the same API that we expose to customers who want to build their own applications through the Noble Systems API. So there's a couple other questions here about getting a demonstration about licensing costs and other things that related to that. My recommendation for those questions, to cover over those, get in touch with your sales account manager and they can schedule a demo with your solutions engineer. You might get me or one of my colleagues to do a demo for you, either on a WebEx or possibly on your location. And they'll be able to discuss all the specifics about licensing and cost and things like that with you. So I think that's all of the questions and content I had for today. I want to thank everybody for being part of our brief webinar about real-time speech analytics. Thank you very much for your interest. If you want more information, please do get in touch with us, and we'll be more than happy to schedule a demo. Thank you very much.